Have you ever looked at someone you trust and felt a tiny cold whisper inside your chest asking one simple question? Do I really know this person? Have you ever walked away from a conversation and hours later realized something felt wrong but you couldn't explain why? Like someone moved a piece on a chessboard inside your life while you were smiling and shaking their hand? Have you ever given loyalty, time, love, energy, advice, opportunities, only to later discover that the person standing next to you was quietly calculating how to use you? And the real question that cuts deeper than all the others is this: how many times has this already happened to you without you even noticing? Because the most dangerous deception in the world is not the lie you hear. It is the lie you never even realized you were living inside. Most people grow up believing a comforting story about human nature, a story that says if you are kind, people will be kind back, if you are honest, people will respect honesty, if you open your heart, people will protect it. But then life begins to show you strange cracks in that story, small moments that feel confusing at first, like the friend who laughs with you but quietly spreads rumors about you, the coworker who praises you in meetings but blocks your promotion behind closed doors, the lover who says, "I care about you," while slowly draining your confidence until you depend on them. And when these moments happen, you often blame yourself. You think maybe you misunderstood, maybe you are being paranoid, maybe you should just trust more, forgive more, ignore the feeling in your gut. But that gut feeling exists for a reason, and that reason is the same truth that the political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli observed hundreds of years ago when he wrote the brutal sentence most people try to ignore. Most people around you are not who you think they are. That line is not pessimism. It is not hatred of humanity. It is simply a warning about the hidden structure of social reality. Because every human being you meet lives in two worlds at the same time: the public mask and the private intention. The public mask is the version they show you, the smile, the polite words, the shared jokes, the friendly gestures, the compliments, the supportive messages. The private intention is the real engine underneath those behaviors, and sometimes that engine is kind, sometimes it is neutral, and sometimes it is cold strategy. The problem is that most people spend their entire lives studying the mask while ignoring the intention, which is exactly why manipulators move through the world like silent hunters. Imagine you are walking through a forest and someone tells you every animal in the forest is friendly. You would walk peacefully, relaxed, smiling, trusting every movement around you. But if even one predator exists in that forest, your ignorance becomes the predator's greatest weapon. Human social life works the same way. The person who understands manipulation does not need everyone to be naive. They only need enough people to be naive. And the painful truth is that many good, honest, hard-working people become targets precisely because of their good qualities. If you are generous, you become useful. If you are empathetic, you become readable. If you are loyal, you become predictable. And if you are predictable, someone with darker intentions can begin designing moves around you without you noticing. Think about a moment in your life when someone made you feel small, confused, or guilty without a clear reason. Maybe they twisted your words. Maybe they made a joke that felt like an insult disguised as humor. Maybe they told you that you were too sensitive when you reacted to something disrespectful. That moment was not random. It was a test. Manipulators test boundaries the same way a thief tests doors at night, quietly, softly, checking which doors open easily. The first psychological weapon they use is called micro-disrespect. It is small enough that you hesitate to react, but clear enough that they learn something about you. If you stay silent, they learn your tolerance level. If you apologize, they learn your insecurity. If you laugh it off, they learn you prioritize harmony over self-protection. Every reaction becomes data for them. Now pause for a second and ask yourself something honestly. How many small disrespectful moments have you ignored in your life because you did not want to create conflict? If this idea is starting to open your eyes even a little, I want you to make a small commitment right now. Write the word aware in the comments or whisper it to yourself quietly. That single word means you are choosing to see instead of sleep. Because awareness is the first wall that protects you from manipulation. And if you are still here listening carefully, it means you are already doing something most people never do. You are looking directly at a truth that many prefer to avoid. Now let's go deeper. The second weapon manipulators use is emotional mirroring. At the beginning, they appear almost magically compatible with you. They like what you like, they agree with your opinions, they support your dreams, they make you feel understood faster than anyone else ever has. This stage feels wonderful, almost magical, which is exactly why it works. Because trust is not built slowly anymore, it is accelerated. Psychologists sometimes call this love bombing in romantic contexts, but the same strategy appears in friendships, business relationships, and family dynamics. The manipulator studies your emotional needs and reflects them back to you like a mirror. If you crave validation, they praise you. If you crave support, they encourage you. If you crave understanding, they say, "I feel exactly the same way." But here is the hidden mechanism. They are not connecting with you, they are mapping you. They are learning which emotional buttons control your behavior. Once they know those buttons, they can start pressing them whenever they want something. This is why some people suddenly change after you become emotionally invested in them. At the beginning, they were generous, supportive, warm. Later, they become distant, critical, unpredictable. This change is not confusion. It is leverage. Because once someone knows you care deeply about their approval, they can control your emotional climate simply by giving or removing that approval. Imagine a thermostat controlling the temperature in a house. Manipulators try to become the thermostat of your emotional life. When you please them, the temperature becomes warm again. When you resist them, the temperature suddenly turns cold. Over time, this creates psychological dependence because your brain starts working harder and harder to regain the warmth you felt in the beginning. If you have ever felt yourself chasing someone's approval even though they treated you poorly, you have already experienced this mechanism. Now here is the moment where many people feel a heavy emotion rising in their chest because they start remembering situations from their past. If that is happening to you right now, take a slow breath and understand something important. Recognizing manipulation does not mean you were weak, it means you were human. Every human being wants connection, respect, belonging, and love. Manipulators simply study those natural desires and weaponize them. And if you are still with me right now, I want to acknowledge your courage because most people would already click away from a conversation like this. So here is your second vow. If you are serious about protecting your mind, type "I see more now" or repeat it silently. This is not just a comment. It is a declaration that you are upgrading the way you observe human behavior. Now let's expose the third and most dangerous weapon, controlled confusion. This tactic destroys your confidence in your own perception. The manipulator says something hurtful, then denies it. They promise something, then claim they never promised it. They criticize you, then accuse you of overreacting. This pattern has a name in psychology: gaslighting. The goal is simple but devastating. If they can make you doubt your own memory, your own feelings, your own interpretation of events, then you will slowly start relying on their version of reality instead of your own. When that happens, power shifts completely. Imagine trying to navigate a city while someone constantly changes the street signs around you. Eventually, you stop trusting the map in your hands and start asking the person changing the signs where to go. That is exactly what gaslighting does to your mind. It replaces your internal compass with the manipulator's directions. And this is where Machiavelli's warning becomes painfully clear. People are not always who you think they are because their words are not always connected to their intentions. A manipulator can say, "I care about you," while carefully shaping a situation that benefits them at your expense. They can smile while calculating. They can hug while planning distance. They can praise you publicly while weakening you privately. This does not mean everyone around you is dangerous, but it does mean that blind trust is not wisdom. True wisdom is balanced awareness. It is the ability to appreciate kindness while still observing behavior patterns. Because behavior always reveals truth over time. Words can perform theater, but actions leave fingerprints. So the real skill you must develop is pattern recognition. Instead of asking, "What did this person say today?" start asking, "What pattern do their actions create over time?" One isolated moment means little. A repeated pattern means everything. If someone repeatedly dismisses your feelings, that pattern is information. If someone repeatedly benefits from your sacrifices without returning support, that pattern is information. If someone repeatedly appears supportive in public but undermines you in private, that pattern is information. Patterns expose intentions the same way footprints reveal the path someone walked through a forest. And the moment you begin seeing patterns, manipulation becomes much harder to hide. Now pause again and feel the shift happening inside you. At the beginning of this conversation, you were simply hearing questions. Now you are beginning to see a map. And maps change everything because once you see the terrain clearly, you stop walking blindly. If you have reached this point in the conversation, you have already traveled further than most viewers ever will, and that deserves recognition. So here is your third commitment. Type or whisper, "I trust my eyes." Not blind suspicion, not paranoia, but calm observation. Because trusting your eyes means respecting the evidence of behavior instead of clinging to comforting illusions. Now let me show you something even deeper. The reason Machiavelli's observation still matters today is not because humans suddenly became manipulative. Humans have always been capable of both cooperation and strategy. The real difference today is speed. Social interactions move faster than ever. Friendships form quickly, business partnerships appear overnight, relationships intensify within weeks. This speed reduces the time people once had to observe character. When time shrinks, masks survive longer. And when masks survive longer, manipulative personalities gain more opportunities. That is why emotional intelligence today is not just a soft skill. It is a survival skill. You do not need to become cold or cynical. You simply need to combine kindness with clarity. Kindness without clarity becomes exploitation. Clarity without kindness becomes isolation. But when kindness and clarity work together, you become extremely difficult to manipulate because you remain open-hearted while still paying attention to patterns. And that combination is powerful. Because manipulators rely on two types of people: the completely naive and the extremely reactive. The naive trust too quickly. The reactive explode emotionally. But the calm observer disrupts both strategies. When you observe calmly, manipulators lose their favorite tool, your predictable reaction. Suddenly their tests stop working. Suddenly their emotional traps fail. Suddenly they realize something uncomfortable. You are not easy prey anymore. And that realization changes the dynamic instantly. If you have followed this journey until now, you have already taken a powerful step that most people never take. You looked behind the mask. So here is the final vow for the people who truly want to evolve. Say, "I see people clearly." Because clarity is the beginning of real power. Not power over others, but power over your own life decisions, your boundaries, your trust, and your energy. And when you start seeing people clearly, something surprising happens. You stop feeling bitter about past manipulation because you realize every experience gave you data, every mistake sharpened your awareness, every betrayal trained your pattern recognition. In other words, the same experiences that once hurt you become the training ground that makes you stronger than the manipulator who tried to use you. And that is the hidden paradox Machiavelli would probably smile at. The moment you truly understand human strategy, you stop being controlled by it. You begin choosing your circle more carefully, trusting actions more than promises, and protecting your attention like the rare resource it truly is. Because attention is where manipulation begins and where freedom also begins. Once you control where your attention goes, You control which influences shape your reality. And that realization transforms the simple warning, most people around you are not who you think they are, into something much more empowering. Most people only control you while you remain unaware. The moment awareness enters the room, the entire game changes.